Hello. As you probably have heard, drinking tea is a huge part of the British culture. So, how do you offer somebody tea in proper English? In the English that they don't teach you at school? In the English that actual English people use in England? How do you talk about tea in proper English? So, if you had to ask somebody if they wanted a cup of tea, how would you do it? You would probably correctly and politely say, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And that's totally correct grammatically, and it's a polite way to say it. But only kind of very posh people would probably say that in England. Not something you would hear very often. Would you like a cup of tea? To teach you how to say it properly, I will split the sentence, "Would you like a cup of tea?" in two parts. Also, you have to know that English, as probably many other countries, people from other countries, when they speak, they like to shorten everything, to make everything shorter and quicker, because, when you talk, you have to save time. So I will shorten the sentence and show you how to say it properly. So we'll take the "Would you like a cup of tea?" And we'll take the first part, the "Would you like?" And in proper English, you would just simply say, replace that whole part with "fancy." "Would you like?" is exactly the same as "fancy." Would you like? Fancy. Now, for a cup of tea, a cup of tea is too long to say, so let's get rid of a few letters. I'm going to get rid of off. Don't need the off. Also going to get rid of the T. I don't need the T. And neither do I need the A. So basically, a cup of tea becomes a cuppa. A cuppa. That's it. Simple. A cuppa. When you spell a cuppa, you just spell it with two P's. So fancy a cuppa is exactly the same as saying, "Would you like a cup of tea?" But fancy a cuppa is proper English way to say it. When you say fancy a cuppa, English people all over England will understand what you mean. However, if you happen to be in the north of England, you can replace the cuppa, and you will hear this a lot as well, with a brew. Fancy a brew. Brew is so when you leave the tea bag with the hot water, you need to leave it for a few minutes to infuse, and that's called brewing. So you're brewing tea, you're letting the tea bag infuse in with the hot water. So fancy a brew is a nice northern way to say it. So how would you invite somebody? So you want to invite a friend over. She's English and she loves tea, and you just want to invite her over to your house for a cup of tea and maybe a chit chat. A little bit of the latest gossip. So how would you ask in a very English way if she wants to come over for a cup of tea and a chat? So I'll write this sentence out for you. So we already know how to say "would you like to" or would you like, so that's fancy, to come over in the conversational language of the English would be, and they use this a lot as well, popping over. So, would you like to come over, as in come to my place? Fancy popping over. Popping, to pop out, to pop in, to pop here, to pop there is very popular in England. They use pop for everything. So fancy popping over, would you like to come and see me? And for a cup of tea. So in any part of England you can use, so you would say for a cuppa. So anywhere in England you can say fancy popping over for a cuppa. Or if you're in the north of England you can say fancy popping over for a brew. And how do you say a chat in a very, to sound more English? You say and a. So there's two ways. In general England, if you say catch up, not ketchup, not tomato sauce, a catch up. So a catch up is a chat. You know, talk about what's happened in your life lately. So fancy popping over for a cuppa and a catch up. Or you can also use, instead of ketchup, you can use a natter. Natter. A natter. So fancy popping over for a cuppa and a natter. You sound very English if you say that way. But again, natter is used more in the north, although I think they would understand it in the rest of England as well. But if you want to sound really northern, you can say fancy popping over for a brew and a natter. Just repeat it. Fancy popping over for a brew and a natter. So you already feel more English. Well, there you go. That's my lesson for today. And just to give you a little tip, you might want to do a little research on whether you put the milk in first or the milk in last when making a cup of tea, because it's either one or the other. And good luck with that.